Good morning, Level 9 students. This is your teacher, Michelle, in case you haven't figured that out yet. This is a short video reminding you of the different sentence types, okay? I'm going to go through it quite quickly, but you can slow it down if it's too fast. So the four kinds of sentences in English are simple, compound, complex, and compound complex. Every single sentence has at least one subject and one verb, okay? Ellie took a selfie. This is called an independent clause, or IC, and it's comprised of a subject plus verb, okay? Which makes it a simple sentence. All of those things are the same. So here's where the fun starts, okay? Ellie and her friends were taking selfies. Okay, we've got two subjects here though. Is that okay? Is it still a simple sentence? The answer is yes, because Ellie and her friends is a compound subject. Okay, so we've got Ellie and her friends were posing and taking selfies. So here we've got two verbs, but is this still a simple sentence? Of course, the answer is yes. We have here a compound subject and a compound verb. Okay, and if that weren't complicated enough, here's one more option for a simple sentence. They, this is the subject, were posing and taking selfies. Okay, so we have a compound subject, compound verb, in the park on a windy day with no clouds in the sky. It is still a simple sentence. You guessed it, because these are prepositional phrases. Excellent. Moving on, compound sentences. A compound sentence is two ICs, so two simple sentences joined together, okay? And it has at least two subjects and two verbs. The trick here comes is that you can't just push two sentences together without adding something, okay? If you just put a comma, it's not strong enough. A comma, it's just going to fall apart. So you need a little bit something stronger. Look at this sentence here. Ellie took a selfie, comma, but her friend was trying to catch a swan by the river. So here are three ways of joining compound sentences. This is the first way, independent clause, comma, and then one of the fanboys. Okay, and the fanboys are here, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. The other thing you can do is combine your two independent clauses with a semicolon, because a semicolon is a little bit stronger than a comma, so it can hold two sentences together as long as they are both the same kind of idea, okay? You don't want to have two different ideas joined together. And then the third way, which is quite popular with the student set, is independent clause, semicolon, and then a transition and a comma. So the transition doesn't add or take away from this independent clause, okay? It's just on its own. So transitions would be words like however, moreover, in addition, for example. You can look on your conjunctions sheet and see all of those different examples. All right. What's next? Complex sentence. These are one of the most common sentences and I think one of the most easy to play around with, okay? So again, there's two subjects and two verbs because we're joining two independent clauses together. But what we're doing is adding a word called a subordinating conjunction. Let's have a look here. I have an independent clause and a dependent clause. That's how I make a complex sentence. Or I could put the dependent clause first, followed by a comma, and then the independent clause. So here's my example. While Ellie was taking selfies, comma, that's a dependent clause followed by a comma, her friend was chasing the swans on the riverbank. So that's my second independent clause, okay? But I can also switch it around and put the independent clause first. Ellie's friend was chasing swans on the riverbank. Oops, there should not be a comma here. While Ellie was taking selfies. Okay, so I found a little mistake of mine. So take out that comma. The comma needs to be here, just like this. While is the subordinating conjunction, okay? is a whole list of subordinated conjunctions on your conjunction sheet. Words like while, although, nevertheless, although, okay? And also if you put words like who, what, where, which to make relative clauses and noun clauses, when, where, okay? All of those words, if you see them in a sentence, you're probably looking at a complex sentence. And this is the most fun, and since you're in level 9, you can use these at your leisure. Compound complex sentences. Essentially, it's basically like 3 sentences put together, 3 independent clauses, okay? So 3 subjects, 3 verbs, and there's a whole variety of ways that you can combine your sentences. Here's just one way. You can have a dependent clause, comma, an independent clause, comma, and then a coordinating conjunction and another independent clause. So here's my first dependent clause. We have a subordinated conjunction, while. While Ellie was taking selfies, comma, oops, sorry guys, her friend was chasing away swans on the riverbank, comma, so there's my coordinated conjunction, my fanboy. Neither of them noticed the shirtless young man running by. Ooh, too bad. So here's a special note on transitions. Transitions, as I mentioned, do not change an independent clause to a dependent clause, okay? They're kind of an independent word. They add something to the sentence, like a signpost, but they do not change the structure of the sentence, okay? You can find transitions in different places, the beginning, middle, or end of a sentence, okay? Here I've made a compound, I don't know what kind of sentence is this. You tell me, let's read it. Ellie and her friend, okay, we've got compound subject, may have missed the first cute jogger. Okay, they may have missed the first cute jogger. There we go. Then we have a semicolon. So I'm adding on another sentence, but you can see I'm using a transition, okay? However, comma, they did not miss his friend. You could also say they did not, comma, however, comma, miss his friend. Or you could say they did not miss his friend, comma, however. So I just wanted to show you that you can place the transitions, not all of them, but most of them, most of the time, can go in different positions. It's really popular to use these with words like, for instance, for example, okay, those can easily be put in different areas of the sentence. So give it a try, do something different. And my last word here is about sentence variety. It's time to move beyond simple sentences, okay? If you have an essay full of simple sentences, the grammar may not be wrong, but that's not going to make it sophisticated, okay? It's going to make your writing choppy. If you have a whole paragraph full of compound complex sentences, on the other hand, you have the other problem where that it's a little bit hard to follow as the reader, and it can be a little bit too wordy. So the idea here is to have a variety. If you really want to make an emphasis on something, use a simple sentence. If you want to give an explanation or show a cause-effect result, use a complex sentence, okay? If you want to add some information, compound is the way to go. So use a variety of sentences to make your writing sophisticated and interesting. Here I have a paragraph, okay? I'm not going to read it out to you now. You can read this on your own, but basically I want you to look at the different things that I've highlighted, okay? Some adults want to learn an additional language, semicolon. Many of them do not succeed because it is difficult to stay motivated. Wow, that's a great first sentence. You see a semicolon, so that says to my brain, oh, this is a kind of compound sentence. And then I see the word because. It says to my brain, oh, this is a complex thing. This is a subordinating conjunction. So if you add those both together, my guess is this first sentence is a compound complex sentence. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a moment to read this. comma, so, since, comma, student's attention. This can also be demotivating. Looks like I'm reading it with you. An adult may have specific reasons which might not be relevant for studying another language, semicolon, transition. Therefore, comma, the students may lose interest. If this happens, comma, it is hard to see language improvements, comma, and it seems impossible to become fluent. Moreover, transition, comma, this may make it easy to give up, comma, and can lead to a loss of motivations, semicolon, transition. As a result, comma, it is difficult to learn another language. So here you can see everything in yellow is a subordinating conjunction. It's causing a dependent clause somewhere. The green in these three areas are coordinating conjunctions, so fanboys, and the blue are transitions. So you see, it's quite sophisticated. I'm not starting every sentence with a transition. There's no real pattern to what I'm writing. Let's break this apart. Here are all the sentences, and I've shown you what kind of sentences they all are. Okay, so the first one, look, we were right, it's a compound complex sentence. The second one, returning to the classroom as an adult can be hard, comma, so the teacher may use traditional methods. There's a compound one. Since these methods can be boring, dependent clause, comma, they might not grab the student's attention. That's complex. This can also be demotivating. There we go, a nice simple sentence. So I think you can see the rest of these sentences, there's a nice variety. What I'd like to leave you with is this thought. Use the tools available to you to be a great writer, because we all know that you can. Good luck.